And U.S. Guard Dogs is just a great organization that helps support the canine teams and helps with health care for the canines that need help paying for their health care. And so Chris will tell you about that in a moment. So now we're getting to the medalists. Let's go up to the thirds. There you go. So these are our 6 heroes this time around. We're honoring 6 four-legged and winged heroes. We have a horse, a pigeon, and 4 dogs. And 3 of our dogs are with us tonight. And in honoring them and remembering them, we're paying tribute to the men and women that served with them. And we're so excited to do that. These 6 incredible animals are just really something special, as you'll hear their videos. And it was so fun to see all the handlers and the people involved with these animals tell their story. And I think there won't be a dry eye at the place, I think, at sometimes. But right now, I would like to introduce once again the Reverend Margaret Groom-Kibben. And I learned my lesson last time. It's all yours.
You know, I was asked to pray again this afternoon for this wonderful event. There was a really old hymn that came to mind. Some of you may know it. It's called All Things Bright and Beautiful. Now, I won't sing it, but I'll just give you the first verse. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. All things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. With that in your mind, would you pray with me? Almighty God, you created the earth and all that is in it and called it good. But God, you did something special when you allowed us to share this earth with these wonderful creatures we celebrate this afternoon. It is as if you know that we need the faithful companionship of these loyal animals to be assured of your presence, strengthened by your comfort and encouraged by your driving sense to keep going. As we give tribute to all these things and the equine, canine, and avian heroes we honor, may your own care and protection be known once again to us. And so as we tell the incredible stories of brave and courageous actions in wartime and peace, speak into the souls of these warriors our deep gratitude for their example, not just of duty, but of devotion, not just of obligation, but gallantry, not just service, but to selflessness. With grateful hearts, we admire the bonds that have been forged between service animals we honor and their valiant handlers. In that special connection they share, their devotion and steadfast commitment to each other and to this country. May we, who experience them and hear their stories, somehow understand that their faithfulness and fortitude is so vital to the defense of our freedom and security. Bless then this ceremony, that it would give due honor to these fine animals' sacrifice and service. And in the strength of your wise and wonderful name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much, Chaplain Kibben. You just always have a way of bringing out the emotion and the beauty in all of this work that we're doing. So right now, I'd like to do a presentation of the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of colors from the Young Marines of the Potomac River, 8th and I, and Colonel Wesley Fox. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by one of the Young Marines. March on the colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Retire the colors. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Emirates. Please be seated. Once again, we are here to celebrate, recognize, and honor our animal warriors on this date because Monday, this Monday, March 13th, is National Canine Veterans Day, a day set aside to honor and commemorate the service of our sacrifices of American military and working dogs throughout history. It was on March 13, 1942, that the Army began training for its new War Dog program, and it's known as the Canine Corps. And this year marks the 81st anniversary of that. So we would like to honor, if you go to the next slide, we have several past recipients who received our Medal of Bravery. We have, in honor of Canine Veterans Day, we have Chris Willingham. Please stand up for military working dog Luca. He received Medal of Bravery number 6. Alex Schnell for NPC Bass, and actually Bass is with us tonight in the audience. He got Medal of Bravery number 8. Sean Hemphill, he received our Medal of Bravery number 11 for Ziggy. And Marshall Malarkey last year received our Distinguished Service Medal number 1 for Canine Hurricane. Thank you all for being here. God bless you. That's so cute. Oh my gosh. Wonderful. So I need to take a moment to thank some very special people who helped make this ceremony possible. This is the third year in a row that Linda Blick has stepped up with Tales of Hope and has been a very vital part of helping with the canine procession and a photographer and all kinds of wonderful things. She's on our board and we're very, very grateful to have her. The Timothy T. Day Foundation has generously supported a lot of my Sergeant Reckless monuments and this ceremony for the third time in a row, and as has Gary and Mary West. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, MedVet, who joined us for a second year in a row. They are a leading veterinary-owned and led group of specialty and emergency hospitals dedicated to delivering exceptional care to more than 500,000 animals each year. Many of them are service and working dogs. This is also the second year that Lee and Ramona Bass have joined us, Deborah Sergisgetter, and Martha and Stephen Peterson of the Peterson Family Foundation. Watts and Sally Humphrey joined us this year, as did the Roy Lee McClellan Estate, Southern Cross Service Dogs, which we're very happy to have here, and the Three Pearls Charities Incorporated. It's wonderful to have you all joining us in this wonderful celebration. I need to take a moment here to just remember a dear friend of mine who passed, and also former Senator John Warner, who was our true champion and helped start this whole program back in 2018 and 19. But Mike Mason was, I interviewed him for my Sergeant Reckless book, and he has been a staple with me for everything Sergeant Reckless in this area. And he passed away last month, and he's just been a vital part. He actually had his VFW hall changed to the Staff Sergeant Reckless Memorial Hall, which was really something special. And the Memorial Day parades this year is just not going to be the same without Mike. But he was an absolutely wonderful, wonderful supporter, a great man, and a lot of my tribe in here knows Mike very well, and we just wanted to pay him honor, as well as Senator John Warner, we were so grateful that he had such a good time with Bass in that front the first time around. So we need to take a moment here to thank the Animals and War and Peace Nominating and Advisory Board as well. These people are so amazing. And this ceremony would not be what it is tonight without the help and wonderful dedication that these people have done for us. It has just been a delight to work with them, and I feel blessed every time that we can get on a Zoom call and try to plan something else. A lot of them are here tonight, and so you'll see their names on their name tags, and I just really want to give them a round of applause, please. And wave your hand if you want. Thank you so much. Now, a fun thing that some of you guys might have gotten on your chairs, I just have to throw this out. We were in the Guinness Book of World Records, believe it or not. Our very first, all of a sudden I am the really cool aunt because I'm in the Guinness Book of Records, right? But our very first Medal of Bravery ceremony, we were listed in there. And our Distinguished Service Medalists were listed in there from last year, and it is just so much fun to be a part of this. And I just loved it that they were the ones that reached out and said, we really want to make this special. This needs to go in the book. And so we were very, very grateful for that. So you all should have a copy of it, and take it home and share it with your family. I know they'll get a big kick out of it. So now I'd like to introduce our next co-host for the evening, Chris Willingham. Chris retired after 20 years of faithful service in the United States Marine Corps. He dedicated the majority of his career to the military working dog program and served in key billets from Canine Handler to Canine Program Manager. Chris is the president of the United States War Dog Association, which supports the military working dogs and promotes the history and invaluable service. So let's welcome Chris Willingham, please.
Robin, I really appreciate you letting us be a part of this incredible event. Like I said, my name is Chris Willingham, and had the opportunity to dedicate most of my career to the canine community. And being part of the U.S. War Dogs Association is very special to me. So it was established in 2000 by 5 Vietnam dog handlers. Now these 5 dog handlers, they didn't serve together. They represented 3 branches of service. But what they had together was that special bond of holding the leash and being a dog handler. They actually met in the late 90s at a reunion, and they wanted to make a difference. They started raising money to dedicate a statue to honor war dogs. That started in 2000. The next year, 9/11 happens, and our generation of dog handlers started deploying to Iraq and Afghanistan. They started sending care packages to us. I was on the receiving end of many of those care packages. By the time they dedicated the statue in 2006, now they're full-fledged supporting dog handlers in Iraq and Afghanistan, saying we got something special here. We got to keep this mission going. And over the next 15, 16 years, it really grew and developed into a life cycle of full support for military working dogs. So from care packages, like just this past summer, we sent 170 care packages worldwide to dog handlers. When they get ready to retire, we have the Military Working Dog Service Medal, and the big piece is in retirement. You know, a lot of Vietnam veterans have advocated for the health and welfare of war dogs because of what happened to their canines in Vietnam. And that's why we take such good care of these days. However, when the dogs retire, there's no public funding allowed for them. So that's where we step up. Since 2015, we've saved veteran handlers $1.5 million in prescription medications and about $700,000 in emergency surgeries, which most of us through our partnership with Red Bank Veterinary Hospital. And it's just absolutely an honor to be a part of that cause and that mission. And I think the mindset is if we're taking care of that dog, we're taking care of the veteran on the other end of the leash, just to alleviate that financial burden so they can worry about just spoiling the dog in his well-deserved retirement. So just knowing what these dogs do for us firsthand in combat, the lives they save, and seeing them being recognized here today, absolutely appreciate what you're doing, and peace and love to all animals. K9 leads the way.
So does a pigeon, so does a horse sometimes too. So that's just wonderful. All righty, so next I would like to introduce Mary Lou Livingood, the president of the Livingood Group, Washington, D.C. She's a nominating board member of Animals in War and Peace, and she's going to recognize the members of Congress who are supporting our efforts tonight and give you a little bit more information on what we're doing. Mary Lou?
Good afternoon. Thanks for coming. I want to thank Robin and Chris and the members of the board for their tremendous effort over the last year in selecting these animals. My role is to help and assist members of Congress in understanding the importance of why we need to recognize our brave animals handlers and their families. So it's been a real pleasure, and it started with Senator John Warner, actually, in 2018. The late senator from Virginia, recognized the importance and the perspective of war and peace to educate the next generation of about the valiant animals whose loyalty is a testament to the courage and enduring bond between human and animal. So Senator Warner's legacy continues, and we have been so thankful for those members who have supported us. We, as Robin mentioned, had our first House resolution last year that was sponsored by Congresswoman Floyd Ball-Allard, and this year our champion and sponsor is Congressman Bill Rackus from Florida. We have the medals that are going to be given tonight are given by members of Congress, and we are very pleased that Congressman Quigley is here once again. We are thrilled that he sees the importance and value in not only signing the House resolution, but also recognizing that this effort needs to be made here in the United States. And Congressman Quigley will be giving both a medal to K9 Jafar and the mom. While we appreciate his attending, Congressman Quigley represents the 5th District of Illinois and is serving on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, and brings a unique understanding of the importance of these brave service animals in the recognition they deserve in the United States. The 3rd Medal of Bravery will be presented by Congressman Don Bacon of Nebraska to Paco. Congressman Bacon represents the 2nd District of Nebraska, served 30 years in the Air Force, and ultimately was hired as a Brigadier General. Congressman Bacon serves on the House Armed Services Committee, and we are thrilled to have his support for the first time this year in giving the Medal of Bravery to his constituent, Paco. The 4th Medal of Bravery will be given by Gus Bilrakis of Florida, Congressman Gus Bilrakis, to K9K. Gus Bilrakis represents the 12th District in Florida, and as we mentioned, is our 2023 resolution sponsor. If any of you would like to see last year's House resolution, I have copies to see after the event. We are so grateful for the Congressman's time and his staff in presenting this House resolution soon on the House floor. The 5th Medal of Bravery to multi-purpose K9 Szymanski will be Congressman Maxwell Frost of Florida. Congressman Maxwell Frost, as you all may have read, is the youngest serving member ever in Congress and represents Florida's 10th District. We congratulate Congressman Frost in his service, and we look forward to working with him in the future. So his constituent is Florida constituent Szymanski. Lastly, I don't think Congresswoman Brownlee is here yet, but we'll roll around when she gets here for introductions to Congresswoman Brownlee. But this time, I think we turn this over to, yes, Congressman Quigley, so we can get you out of here.
So, is that two?
Yes.
So, should we do it first?
Well, I think
Yeah, she's going to do work.
the Congressman's going to do Jafar. He needs to leave, so let's,
Okay, so,
he's doing Jafar and Ward.
okay.
And then,
Mr. Richard,
yes,
okay, perfect. Okay, so we can do work first.
I'm sorry, Jafar and Potter. Sorry.
Sorry. We've had a lot of switches.
Sorry, that's okay. Last minute
Bear with
change.
us. Okay, so let's start with the Jafar. So you guys can go to, hang on. Jafar is slide number 22.
Okay.
Do Jafar?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, let me get started on this, excuse me. Okay, our first Medal of Bravery recipient is K9 Jafar for tonight. And let me just tell you a little bit about the Medal of Bravery. Well, since you have to go, let's just get on with the story. The K9 Jafar is from Baytown, Texas Police Department. Jafar is still on active duty, so he took time off from work to come here and get this medal. I think that's pretty awesome. So here is his wonderful story as told by Corporal Jeremy Stevens, his owner and handler.
Corporal Jeremy Stevens, Baytown Police Department, here in Texas. This is K9 Jafar. K9 Jafar is a 4-year-old Belgian Malinois imported from Hungary. He's trained in tracking, narcotics detection, and patrol work. K9 Jafar has been with the department since June of 2020, and has been assigned to me the whole time. On March 15, 2022, I was working a normal patrol shift when we received a SWAT call-out with an armed, barricaded suspect. After several hours of negotiations, the suspect refused to exit the residence. Gas was then deployed into the residence and more negotiations, and still the suspect refused to come out. We then deployed a robot into the residence, at which time we were able to locate the suspect hiding in a small pantry inside the kitchen area on the second floor. As the robot found the suspect, he began to hit the robot with the mop that was in the closet. As the robot was being hit, we could clearly see that the suspect was holding the mop with both hands, and he did not have a weapon in his hand. Also, we noticed that there was weapons in the kitchen, handguns, and the suspect had also made several fighting positions throughout the house. He moved furniture at the end of the hallway to hide behind, and he had weapons propped up against there. At this point, the team leader came to me and asked me if I felt comfortable sending K9 Jafar into the pantry if we knew the suspect had both hands on the mop and not a weapon at the time, and decided that that would be a proper thing to do instead of just sending the entry team into the room without the dog. So once an entry plan was established, myself, K9 Jafar, and a 6-man entry element made entry into the residence. At the same time, we redeployed gas into the second floor to keep the suspect hunkered down in the pantry area where we knew where he was at. So as I deployed K9 next up the stairs, he had to negotiate through the 6 operators, go up to the top of the steps, and disappear out of my sight to the left of the stairwell. A few seconds later, he had made contact with the suspect. As the operators moved into the kitchen area, one of them could see clearly that Jafar was engaged with the suspect on the upper left pec, and the suspect had both hands around Jafar's head on each side, and was able to pry K9 Jafar off the initial bite. The suspect then started struggling with Jafar, and Jafar continued to fight with the suspect as the entry team made entry. And Jafar was able to recontact the suspect again in the left pec area of his chest. The suspect pried K9 Jafar off the bite once again, and was now holding his mouth closed as K9 Jafar was trying to struggle to get free of the suspect's grasp. At this point, the suspect started fighting with Jafar, and Jafar was able to grab the upper left leg of the suspect, where he stayed on the contact until the suspect was taken into custody.
This incident started with the report of shots being fired into neighborhood homes, and once SWAT arrived, the standoff lasted 8 hours. There were also 2 small dogs in the pantry with the suspect. Once K9 Jafar was deployed, his drive and ability to stay focused and contain the suspect
Through the total chaos of loud noises, heavy tear gas, the robot, and the small dogs is truly impressive. We are very proud to award Canine Jafar with the Animals of War and Peace Medal of Bravery number 12. Congratulations, Jafar, for your continued dedication and service with the Baytown, Texas Police Department.
I'd like to now call up Congressman Quigley and also Jeremy Stevens. If you want to come in and come on up on the stage, and Congressman Quigley will say a couple of words. And Linda Blick from Tales of Hope will give
I want you to know I wisely made friends with Canine Jafar just out in the hallway. I got 2 licks on my hand. I know we all think the same thing. Would our dogs do something like this? Obviously, these are extraordinary, trained, important personnel that save lives. But, you know, our 75-pound Samoyed once scared the hell out of a drunken Cub fan in front of my house, and I think that counts for something. I think we're all here for the same reasons, and that's that we appreciate the love of our extraordinary pets and our animals, and those who take a step further, in this case, are heroes to our country. I first want to thank Animals in War and Peace for inviting me to be part of this, and the 3rd annual medal ceremony, and recognize the bravery of U.S. service animals and their handlers. Our best furry friends are just a sight to behold. Canine Jafar has served alongside Corporal Jeremy Stevens since June 2020 in the Baytown, Texas Police Department. As we have heard, Canine Jafar acted valiantly to apprehend a suspect and protect other members of the SWAT team and the community at large. So on behalf of the Congress of the United States, I want to thank you, Canine Jafar and Corporal Stevens, for your work and commitment to service.
Yeah, put it on him.
Yeah. Okay. Now remember, if you don't want to do this, just let me know.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jeremy, you can say a few words. Let Jeremy say a few words.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank Animals for War and Peace for what they do in recognizing these animals. Every day across the country, around the world, the service animals do a great job. It protects those who go in with them. So I want to thank you.
Thank you, Jafar. You look so good.
You've got lots of energy.
That's amazing. All right, our next medal will be the Mocker. And again, thank you, Congressman Quigley, for saying something about this. Mocker was a World War I pigeon in the Army Signal Corps Pigeon Service of the American Expeditionary Forces. So let's watch the story of the Mocker.
Greetings, I'm in the Nation Overseas Gallery here at the National Army Museum, and behind me on display is Pigeon Mocker. He served as a carrier pigeon during World War I, and his story is absolutely amazing. So let's learn more about Pigeon Mocker. Hatched in 1917 in the United States, he was sent to France and served on the Western Front until 1918. On his 52nd mission at the Battle of Saint-Mihiel on September 12, 1918, Mocker carried a message from an observer to a U.S. artillery battery. The message, which was attached to his leg, contained the coordinates of German gun emplacements. On his flight back, He was severely wounded by shrapnel. Although he lost an eye and had a big gash on his head, he survived and delivered the message to complete his mission. Now, for his actions, Mocker was declared a hero pigeon and was awarded the Croix de Guerre by France and given a Distinguished Service Cross by the U.S. Army. After his service, he returned home to the United States and died at Fort Monmouth, New Jersey on June 15, 1937. Homing pigeons were used extensively by the United States Army Signal Corps during the war. They demonstrated reliability as messengers and can be used with a variety of forces. Their overall success rate on the battlefield was as high as 95%. The military use of pigeons goes as far back to ancient Rome, with their main purpose being used for communication. However, World War I introduced the widespread use of pigeons on the battlefield by both the Allied and Central Powers. Pigeon Mocker's story is one of many carrier pigeons who served bravely during the war. In June 1917, General John Pershing mobilized the American Pigeon Service, which was led by Frank Griffin. The service consisted of 8 officers, 630 enlisted men, and almost 10,000 pigeons. Training of the birds happened quickly, and by 1918, over 4,000 birds each month were being sent to France. One of them was Pigeon Mocker, and his story is an example of how important the role of pigeons were during World War I. They saved lives and provided a service that helped the Allies win the war.
Mocker's message from the front line contained information on a German artillery battery which was hindering the advance of American forces. With coordinates in hand, thanks to Mocker's incredible flight, the American counter-battery fire silenced the enemy guns in only 20 minutes. Even with the loss of an eye, Mocker continued to fly once his injuries were healed. Eventually, he was credited with carrying 33 messages during the war. We are very proud to award the Mocker with the Animals of War and Peace Medal of Bravery number 13. Congratulations, Mocker, on your incredible flight and service with the U.S. Army Signal Corps' Pigeon Service.
Awesome. I'd now like to call up Tammy Call, who is the director of the National U.S. Army Museum down in Fort Belvoir, and Paul Mirando, who is the head curator there, to receive the medal. Go see Mocker. He's on display at the museum. And why don't you guys stand up over there, Tammy and Paul, and you'll use that microphone over there, okay? And then before you leave too, I want you to check the artifacts in the back of all the dogs that are here, all of our heroes. So here's Congressman Quigley again.
Okay, I feel sufficiently bad for sometimes disdaining pigeons that I see on the street. I was never a war hero, and clearly their ancestors were. And we appreciate, the recent movie gives us a fresh glimpse of the horrors of the First World War and what this bird and others like it had to have gone through, and obviously the damage that the Mocker was injured, but I was pleased that he lived to a ripe old age, and I hope he had time to rest and recover from all of that. So it's an honor to be here to present the Medal of Bravery to Tammy Call and Paul Mirando of the National Museum of the United States Army on behalf of Pigeon Mocker for his valiant service on the battlefields of France in the First World War. As much as war and its impacts take innumerable forms, so does the exhibition of bravery, heroism, courage, and sacrifice during a war, all forms of which deserve recognition. And the giving of that recognition is what gathers us here today to honor American animals who have served our country. Pigeons have worked alongside humans, delivering messages during both peace and war since 3000 BC. A long and intimate partnership that has been seeing more changes in humanity than we can truly understand, but proves the strength and importance of human and animal relationships and collaboration. Mocker was a historic example of the link to which human and animal partnerships can go, as shown in the video we just watched. And I'm glad to see his heroism finally recognized today. Thank you to Tammy and Paul for accepting this Medal of Bravery on behalf of the Mocker, and may his sacrifices and service never be forgotten.
Thank you, Congressman, and thank you, Animals and War and Peace, for this great honor. Even though the Congressman stole my line about not disparaging pigeons, now that you know this story. And so Mocker, while he may not be up there with our canine commander, I don't know that Mocker's handler really had the same level of closeness that our canine handlers do. But this is a great honor for the museum. If you haven't visited us, I'll put a plug in. Come and see us down, just down 95, about 13 miles, the National Army Museum. And so with that, as Paul, my chief curator, who you saw in the video, he has something to say.
Thank you. I learned a lot doing that video. I want to thank Frank Lacey, I think he's in the room here, for nominating the Mocker and getting some great information about him. And it's truly an honor when you work at the Army Museum. You think soldier stories, right? And that's the mission of this museum. But to hear Mocker's story and others, it just inspires you to learn more about what these animals have done for our country. So thank you again.
We're going to move along very fast. We have Congresswoman Julia Brownlee here. She needs to leave right away. We're just so honored that she is here for the third year, and we love this woman. So thank you.
I think my purpose here today is to welcome all of you. I'm not here to provide an award, but just certainly to welcome you and to thank Mary Lou and Robin for organizing today's event to recognize really truly remarkable animals and their service to our country. Over the last several years, I've had the opportunity to work with both of you to see firsthand the passion and unwavering commitment you possess to crediting these animals and the contributions they have made to our nation's armed forces. I'm so pleased that we have once again returned to holding this ceremony in person to celebrate these heroes, both big and small. Mary Lou and Robin, thank you for being a voice for those who, for too long in our military's history, have gone unrecognized. I represent the California's 26th congressional district, and it has a long-standing and rich military history. This is in part due to Naval Base Ventura County and its continued expansion of critical presence in the region. The Navy base also serves as an essential asset to our country's national defense operations. With over 19,000 personnel working at the base, it is unsurprising that Ventura County is also home to some very brave and loyal military working animals that have worked to support our service members in their mission. Throughout our history, highly trained animals, including dogs, horses, birds, have been on the front line of many theaters, and like their handlers and the men and women in uniform they serve with, these animals have risked their lives to save the lives of others. We are here to recognize that crucial role some of these animals have played in defending our nation and protecting our democracy. From the front lines of World War I to tours in Afghanistan and Iraq, to our borders and waterways, to a ceremonial detail, to a president's funeral procession, these animals have been part of our nation's armed forces and federal law enforcement agencies. And this event signifies our continued commitment to honoring the heroic contributions of the animals and handlers who serve our country in times of war and peace. So thank you all for joining us today to honor these animals that are so deserving of this recognition and the opportunity to showcase our sincere appreciation for the animals that have served to safeguard our citizens, our communities, and of course our great nation. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
so much, Congresswoman Brown. I really appreciate it. She also got us this room this year, so I really appreciate that as well. Why don't we go back to, we're going to do Sergeant York next, which is slide number 18. So, go back one more. There you go. Perfect. All right, so tonight, this is the first and the only Distinguished Service Medal that we will be giving out this year. And the Distinguished Service Medal is to justify this as exceptional performance of duty clearly above that normally expected, which has contributed materially to the success of a unit, command, or department is required. The medal is also warranted for sustained superior performance throughout the course of the duties, which is, of course, exemplifies our very first Distinguished Service Medalist tonight, Sergeant York. So let's get started with Sergeant York's story. He had a 25-year career with the U.S. Army Caisson Platoon and is now retired and living in luxury, really, with equine advocates up in Valety, or no, I didn't say that right, Alicia, New York, Chatham, New York, up in that area. So we are very pleased to offer this video about the very, very special Sergeant York.
My name is Captain Carlin Keeley, and I am the U.S. Army Caisson Platoon Leader. The U.S. Army Caisson Platoon is the last fully mounted equestrian unit in the Department of Defense, and we are responsible for carrying our nation's heroes to their final resting place. We run two contingents of military working equine. The first is a 6-horse hitch that actually pulls the same wagons that we used in 1948 to carry our dead men. And the next is our comparison horses, or our riderless horses. And these are the horses that are walked by an enlisted service member to officiate the funerals of 06 and above U.S. Army and Marine Corps officers. So we like to say that we take our nation's fallen heroes to their graveside. Sergeant York actually came to us in 1997 as a donation from the Dobrsky family. Frank Dobrsky was actually serving in the Caisson Platoon at the time.
In 1995, I joined the Caisson Platoon with my whole family, having been in the horse community. I kind of put the word out to everybody if anybody knew of any black or gray horses, potentially the Army would be looking for them. And my mom had come back and she had said that she had found a nice little black horse.
Sergeant York was born all aboard Jules, and he was a harness racing horse up in Long Island, New York.
Sergeant York was actually a standard racehorse. As a standard, that's the breed of horse that he is.
He only won about $14,500 racing, and so Mrs. Dobrsky at the time decided that he would be an excellent candidate for service in the Caisson Platoon.
I'm Carlos Escuro, specialist here at the Caisson Platoon. I've conducted over 29 walks here, a few of them including Sergeant York. Sergeant York is a very high-profile horse that we used to have here inside the barn. In 2004, he conducted a funeral for President Ronald Reagan. A very notable fact about what happened during that funeral is that we used his riding boots to conduct that funeral because he was an equestrian man himself.
My name is Specialist Bryce DeGrassa. I'm here with the United States Army Caisson Platoon. Sergeant York was one of the most remarkable horses we used for comparison walking. Little to nothing phased him in the cemetery. He conducted 25 years of service here at Fort Myer and was a staple to the comparison horses that we used.
Sergeant York had the honor to bury several individuals of extremely high rank, to include General Meyer, General Davis, and actually First Lieutenant Burt Kennedy, who starred in some John Wayne movies. And he actually retired 3 months after he completed his last walk. So he really worked until his end of his service here, and we were incredibly honored to have that sort of work ethic in the barn.
One thing I can say about Sergeant York is that everyone that was around him, or especially in the Caisson Platoon, got to meet him, be around him for a few years. That horse definitely going to have a special place in their heart, 100% guaranteed. I know I will for sure.
Sergeant York was one of our most mission-oriented horses. His friendly personality and work ethic makes him incredibly deserving of this. We are incredibly proud that he is the recipient of Medal number 4 of the Animals in War and Peace Award.
During his 25-year military career, Sergeant York completed close to 2,700 funerals at Arlington National Cemetery. After President Reagan's funeral in 2004, he he was awarded Horse of the Month by the U.S. Trotting Association. Sergeant York finally retired to Equine Advocates, a beautiful horse sanctuary in Chatham, New York, in June of 2022. During a small ceremony there on January 2nd, 2023, he was presented with the Medals of War and Peace Distinguished Service Medal number 4. Congratulations and thank you, Sergeant York.
Originally, we had Congresswoman Susan Wild from Pennsylvania coming to give the award to Sergeant York. Unfortunately, she is sick, but our wonderful chaplain of the House of Representatives, Reverend Margaret Green Kibben, has agreed to stand and give the medal to Sergeant York today, so thank you.
Carlos, would you and Bryce and Carlos like to come up in the case on platoon?
As a chaplain, I have had the occasion to do many military funerals. And when you think about distinguished service and you think about our men and women who have served in combat and who are laid to rest in wonderful military cemeteries across the world, and particularly in the United States, in Arlington there's something special. And it's special in all of these cemeteries, but particularly here, where distinguished service is distinguished by the highest personnel, highest quality personnel, the highest caliber representatives of this really remarkable moment. We have seen probably in many funerals a missing man formation, where a squad of airplanes will fly overhead and one plane will peel off to acknowledge the fact that one has been missing. What you see here and you've seen in these videos is for senior officers for for hundreds of years. This particular symbol has demonstrated the same idea of the missing leader, that his boots are turned backwards, that he's no longer leading forward, the troops forward, but rather he has come to rest. His boots are backward, and this horse who probably carried him into battle is now riderless. It is the symbol of this particular moment that is so distinguished. So to think about Sergeant York carrying that out time and time again. They may not know that horse, they may not know the handlers, they may not know the exceptional personnel who stand beside that horse, but what they do know is that moment is so profound and so meaningful and so distinguished. So it truly is my honor to be able to participate in honoring Sergeant York and, oh, by the way, those who handle and train in these particular distinguished moments. Thank you. I'm not putting it on you.
Well, on behalf of all animal lovers, horse lovers alike, we'd like to thank you all for being out here from the bottom of our hearts. Sergeant York was the staple of all caisson missions. He was the only horse I've ever seen not be fazed by gunfire, cannon fire, anything like that. And we were fortunate enough to have him. Thank you for giving him to us for those few amount of years. And we appreciate everything. And that is all. Thank you.
So to piggyback on what Specialist Rasa said, Sergeant York can always be valuable to the case on platoon, going to be remembered. One thing I'm always going to remember about Sergeant York is whenever I would turn him out to the mare lot from his stall, he would always be so energetic, so full of vigor, just ready to live life. Every 30, 31 years old, he was just always full of energy, and I'm always going to take that forward and make sure to remind that going forward in my life. Thank you, guys.
intent is not to honor the horses, the intent is not to honor anybody else there except for our fawn. And so there is a lot that goes into that perfection. We value that. And part of the reason that we really wanted to have Specialist DeGrassa and Specialist Explorer up here because they're the individuals who come into the barn every single day, 4:30 to 1800, and work with our horses. They're there morning, noon, and night, and they're the ones who make sure that everything does look perfect. We have a saying in the barn, we like to do one funeral 8 times a day. Because it doesn't matter if you're President Reagan, it doesn't matter if you are First Lieutenant, it doesn't matter what your rank is, it doesn't matter what you did. If you are being buried in Arlington National Cemetery by the caisson platoon, that is all that matters. And so we really like to thank Ms. Hutton, and we really like to thank Susan Wagner for all of her work with our retirees. And we're really grateful for you today.
Thank you guys so much. We really, really appreciate you all being here, as well as the wonderful contingency of the caisson platoon who has turned out in support for Sergeant York. So if you just want to stand or raise your hand, we'd like to give you a round of applause as well. Thank you guys so much. I think the work that you do is just amazing. And thank you guys for the video. I thought it was just lovely. I really appreciate it. So our next, all righty, I am so glad that she is here. This is awesome. So we just found out that Congressman Bacon is not going to be able to make it today to present the medal, but the Reverend here will also present that one as well. So it's really awesome. But I want to do our next video is, you go to number, let's see, it's Paco. Number 28, slide 4, you got it? You guys are so good. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see here. Sorry about this. Okay, so we now have our next canine hero in the house, MWD Paco P352, joining us tonight. MWD Paco served with the U.S. Army 3rd Special Forces Group in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. And here is his incredible story.
My name is Brad Mergenay. I'm a prior military working dog handler with the United States Army. And this is my dog, retired Sergeant First Class, Paco. Paco is a 13-year-old Belgian Malinois right now. He is a dual-purpose explosive detection dog. After being paired together, me and Paco trained up so that we could deploy in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. May 2011, we were deployed and attached to the 3rd Special Forces Group in Wardak Province. Our daily missions were to go out and stop the flow, improvise explosive devices and small arms fire from the Cornwall Valley to the main supply route. On a daily basis in Chalk Valley, we received mortar rounds every single morning and small arms fire throughout the day. One mission in specific, we were out raiding villages in the middle of the night to find caches, small arms, IED making materials, and this continued on a nightly basis for months. But during this one operation, we were moving from village to village, and in between, we received incoming mortar fire that landed about 2 or 3 feet from me and Paco. After I'd come to, I realized that Paco had been hit pretty bad on his right side. So I began to treat his wound from the shrapnel that he received, and we got medevac out so that he could be treated by a proper vet. We were out for about 2 weeks, and and then we returned to site to continue mission. At that time, the upper echelon decided that our site was too dangerous and needed to be closed. When it came to the day of exfilling and closing down the site, me and Paco had to lead a 20-mile walk from site back to the main supply route with a 30 or 40 truck convoy behind us. Everybody gathered up at the crack of dawn, and we started to exfil. And as soon as we started to exfil, the indirect fire started, the small arms fire came, and of course, they were going right for me and Paco. This dog has unwavering discipline, and watching him work was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. So on this exfil, Paco's out there doing his job. He identified 19 improvised explosive devices and saved countless lives. I truly tell you that I would not be standing here today without this dog. I owe my life to this dog, and he's earned everything that he's achieved.
During his time in country, MWD Paco had a total of 33 IED finds, and 19 of them were on the exfil mission alone. About 120 soldiers took part in the 20-mile exfil, and Paco and Brad led the way on foot. It took 24 hours non-stop to complete the mission, and incredibly, in those 24 hours, Paco found the 19 IEDs. We are very proud to award MWD Paco with the Animals in War and Peace Medal of Bravery number 14. Congratulations, Paco, for a job well done. I would now like to call Brad Mersney and Paco up to the stage here. Do you want to use the steps? Are you gonna?
So I have a confession to make. And that is when I walked in the room and they sat me in my seat, I hugged the dog first before I introduced myself to the person. And then I secretly hoped that one of the members would not show up. Not that I have any connections. That being said, I do have something I would like to say, and that is that WARDAC has historically been renowned for its danger. In the entire 20 years in Afghanistan, WARDAC was one of those places you simply did not want to go. And while we have talked about this remarkable feat that Paco was able to identify 19 IEDs in a 20-mile run, when you consider that his handler was with him the entire time, knowing full well, conscious of the danger that WARDAC brought, as well as that 20-mile exfiltration, what a remarkable person you are, that you would, in fact, Brad, be the one behind the dog that we honor today. So I know I speak for all of these who are here. The award is clearly for the cuter of the two. But the award is clearly reflective of that incredible partnership, devotion, and loyalty each has to the other.
First, I would just like to thank Robin and the boards for awarding Paco with this great honor. Just viewed all of his sacrifice, and it's nice to be able to see that a dog gets recognition as not just a dog, but as one of us soldiers that fight side by side along with us. Second, I'd like to thank my wife. She wasn't able to make it today, but she did all the legwork on this. She found the award. She got in touch with countless people to submit their support letters. So I just really want to thank her. And then last, I would just like to thank the rest of my family that came along for the ride. And thanks to everybody for being here.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Paco. Good dog. All right, next slide. Okay, on to our next awardee. This is a posthumous award that goes to MPCK. Kay served 4 tours, 3 in Afghanistan and 1 in Iraq, with the U.S. Army's 75th Army Rangers Regiment. Here is his remarkable story.
I'm Travis Harrison. Kay and I served together at 3rd Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment at Fort Benning, Georgia. Kay was a black belt in Mount Laurel with a little white patch on his chest. We were paired together in 2008. Kay was a multi-purpose canine, as in he was trained for several different force multipliers that we used on the battlefield. Kay's specialty was definitely fight work, apprehension, squatter control. Basically, any time enemy combatants fled the target, Kay and I were there to track them down. One key mission, we were at a target. We had just rolled up to the target, and we're starting to get into our formation. Once we decided to go into the target, as we're going up to the front door, we took a lot of fire from the front door. Kay, myself, and several team members had to fall back. We had 2 casualties that Kay and I and other teammates had to drag back out of harm's way. We didn't know it at the time, but the 2 teammates that went down at the front door were killed in action. We took a tactical pause. Kay and I moved around to the back of the objective. Then the enemy combatants came out the backside again. Another firefight ensued. After that firefight ended, we had to go back to the front of the building. It was Kay's job and my job to guide him to basically clear the building. We entered the front door. I knew I was going to have to get Kay upstairs to clear up there. So I had my red laser on my weapon, which made me extremely vulnerable to any enemy that would still be inside the building. And I'm loading my weapon and trying to laze, basically guide Kay up the stairs with my red laser. And so I'm kind of walking him up or lassoing him so he keys in on that red laser. I do it about 3 times, and on my 4th time I notice something different. And as I'm moving my weapon down, I see a weapon pointed right at me. I also kind of see out of the corner of my night vision goggles an extreme change of behavior. Kay whips his head and basically launches on the landing and engages the enemy combatant who was aiming his weapon right at us. So Kay basically bit him, pulled him down the stairs. We were then able to engage him and eliminate the target. And had Kay not engaged that enemy, I probably wouldn't be here, nor would the teammates that were at the front door with me. So, you know, Kay saved our lives that time as well as many others. Kay showed me a lot about unconditional love, because he would just do anything for me because I asked him to. You know, he would stop at nothing to protect us. Kay meant everything to me. He got me through so much overseas and so much here stateside, and he was a family member to us. He was like our rock. So I'm really glad that he will be remembered, and his legacy will continue to live on.
NPCK and Travis did 4 deployments together, 3 to Afghanistan and 1 to Iraq. They completed over 200 special operation nighttime raids, over 75 day operations, and apprehended several high-profile enemy leaders during that time. We are very proud to award NPCK with the Animals of War and Peace Medal of Bravery number 15. Thank you, Kay. for your incredible service and devotion with the 75th Army Ranger Regiment.
So we're kind of running ahead of schedule, and members are kind of having conflicts in their schedules. But I would like to call Travis Harrison up to get the board for Kay, and the Reverend Brooke Gibbon will present the medal and provide his behalf.
Not that I'm taking over the show. The dogs have stolen the show, truly, and a pigeon. Seriously, you saw the video, and when we think about working dogs, we have really no clue. We think about searching out drugs, we think about maybe sniffing something in danger, but we rarely see video of how they engage in those moments. And I would imagine in those moments, there is within the handler's heart and mind both pride and fear all wrapped up in one. And yet that dog moves forward into the fight to do what that dog handler has trained him and set him forward to do. Such loyalty is incomparable. And then to hear in your video how close Kay was to you and to your family, that's the other thing about dogs. So would that we could all award our dogs for how wonderful they are to us, and how they do in fact touch our hearts. But for this, may Kay stand for all those who are loyal, devoted, and unfailing in their duty to their handler and to their country.
Good afternoon. My name is Travis Harrison. I'm the individual who had the honor of being the human at the end of Kay's leash. I got Kay when he was a little over 2 years old, and for the next 14 and a half years, he completely changed the trajectory of my life and my family's life. Kay's the reason I'm still here today. He's the reason my wife still has her husband. And the reason my son has a father. The years I spent with Kay, they were amazing. The years in the military built this foundational relationship that no Hollywood movie could ever effectively fully emulate. They established a bond that could never be broken. They started the evolution of a relationship that became Kay as one of our family members. He became our rock, a comforting source that I could go to, a source that no therapist could ever compare to. It became the avenue for me to find peace. And just by looking into his eyes, I knew that he felt everything I felt, and I felt everything he felt. I lost Kay on September 15, 2021, after a year-long fight with cancer. He was 16 and a half years old. Some of the people that helped us in that fight are in this room, and I'm thankful to each and every one of you. There are friends that I served with and flew with, family, aunts and uncles, a doctor who treated him, a handler who got to see some of the absolute best fights Kay and I have ever been to, involved with, my wife who fought in our corner the entire time, and Bryce. Zeus deserves this just as much as Kay does. They were two peas in a pod, even though they would gladly eat each other if they ever got nose to nose. Kay was a fighter. He loved to fight. He had some good finds, but he would look for any reasonable excuse to pick a fight. Detection training, he would fight me. Tracking, he would fight me. Getting the ball, he would fight me. Fight work was definitely a fight, but deployments gave Kay the perfect excuse to go and pick a fight. However, through all of our fights, Kay and I always pulled through. We pulled through IED attacks, we pulled through spring fighters in the KG Pass, we pulled through the Korengal Valley, we pulled through the southern portion of Baghdad, referred to as the Triangle of Death. We pulled through a suicide bomber laying 2 feet away from me in a palm grove. We pulled through that one, luckily and thankfully, because of Kay's nose and because it's hard to clack yourself off when you get bit by a dog. We fought through emergency surgeries, aches, chronic pains. We fought through the ghosts in our minds, the shadows of our past, the memories of losing friends, and the doubts and questions of what we could have done differently to save them. We fought through the long-term residual effects of the IED blast, fought vestibular syndromes, cancer, chemotherapy, radiation, degenerated discs in our spines, and everything in between. Hey, you and I fought. We fought the good fight. There's nobody else I would have rather fought with. But for you, buddy, the fight's over. You don't have to fight anymore. You don't have to feel those pains anymore. You don't have to fight for me anymore. I'm here, and I'm okay. And I have you to thank for that. And I see you everywhere, buddy. I write to you often to express that. But I want everyone here to know that no matter how effectively I speak these words, no matter how eloquently or how passionately I state them, I'll never do his life justice. Words cannot express that amount of unconditional love. Words can't move your hearts like my heart will be moved when I looked into his deep brown eyes, eyes that told the stories of all the things we've done and all the things we've been through. But we still see you, KK. I see you everywhere. And this is how I see you. I see you the first time I was asked to open your door, the kennel door, and I was terrified. I see you when I was told to open your kennel door, and this time do it with confidence, do it with no fear. And I was still terrified. I see you the first time I was handed you as my working dog. Our partnerships, our lives together began. We trained tirelessly to learn one another, to respect one another, to fight for one another, and sometimes against one another. I see you the first time we deployed together during 20-hour plane rides overseas, freezing in the back of aircraft, just cuddling to keep warm. I see you when we got our first bite together, the first fight we were in together as a team. I see your eyes after that mission, where you knew you could trust me. You knew Daddy was there to fight with you, and we would fight together. I see you after you were hit by that IED, and for a split second, nothing else mattered. The only thing that mattered that we were still alive. I see you as we approached that breach point after that intense firefight. I see you saving my life as you engaged that enemy ready to kill and ambush myself and my teammates at that same breach point. I see you after getting back from that mission. And I got down and hugged you after hearing that two Rangers, two of my friends, weren't coming home with us. I see you as we loaded those two Rangers onto flag-draped coffins onto an empty airplane so that they could fly home to their families and go to their final resting places. I see you as we move to a different phase of life. You retired to our home as I continue to serve in the military. I see you as a pet, as part of our family, as a loved one. I see you the 2 times you got the cops called on us. One time for attacking an 8-foot rubber ducky floaty, the other time for attacking me. I see you comforting Kim as I continue to train, be away from home. You continue to be there for her. I see you when we didn't have to fight anymore. There were no more gunshots, no more war, no more wounds. We could just be. And as you began to age, as your deep brown eyes exemplified the perfect blend of grace and bravery, love and loyalty, strength and vulnerability. I see you as you began your fight with cancer. Late night visits to vet clinics, living 4 weeks away from home, so you get the absolute best care in the world from the best doctors in the room, one in which I'm very thankful is here today. Thank you for being here, Doc. I see you as your hind legs began to weaken, And I would carry you to the Atlantic Ocean or down to the tree line so you could smell the flowers. And as I carried you, you carried my burdens, my fears, my hurt. I see you when the pain got too much for either of us to bear. I see you the night you passed. I see the unconditional love. And I see the sense of peace. I see you in the stillness every night when I get to lay my son down to sleep, knowing that I'm here to love him because you were there to protect me. I see you in the triangular constellations. They look like your ears, angled as you hear the helicopters coming in for exfil, or as you heard the different inflections of my voice, or if you heard me leave the room. And then, KK, I'll see you again through the eyes of your future puppies, and thanks to the miracles of modern science and the miracles of canine IVF. On the night Kay passed, I faced my absolute worst fear. I've never been afraid of anything in my life, except one thing, and that was losing Kay. I always knew it would come. It always haunted me, and it haunted me bad. The next morning, when I woke up after he passed, I wanted to feel that pain for forever. I thought I deserved to feel that pain for forever, like I had failed him. The pain was so pure, it was so real. And for someone who struggles with emotion, I felt like that pain was the only attachment I had to Kay and to that chapter of my life. But for Kay's honor, I want to replace that feeling. I want to replace that pain feeling with this current feeling right now. I want to honor his story with this feeling, knowing that he earned this award, and knowing that his story will continue to be told. Thank you all for being part of that story.
Thank you, Travis. I'm sure I speak for all of us in this room. We just feel the love and the pain and the gratefulness that you had for this incredible, incredible canine. So thank you for sharing that with us tonight. I really appreciate it.
We are honored to have Congressman Don Bacon here. We are running very ahead of time, and he has been nice enough to come and once again honor Paco, so that we can again honor Paco as his constituent from Nebraska. Thank you, Congressman, for coming. Could you bring Paco back up, and we'll let the Congressman say a few words?
Well, we've already done this, so I'll just keep my comments short. I was on time. You guys are ahead of schedule. Right? We're so proud to have Brad Bursney here from Gretna, Nebraska, within our district, and to read of the exploits of Paco 352. And then, you always use the numbers when you say it? You always,
No.
Did you say Paco?
Yeah.
Okay, I asked, so I had to say 352. So, but, Paco, just think about this. I saw two different citations. One said he found 52 IEDs, and one said 33. Regardless, it's a lot. And instead of one mission, 19 IEDs were found that potentially saved the lives of 120 soldiers. And that's incredible. And then I've read too that the average warrior dog, I'll call him, would find 3 IEDs. So that, he's like doing at least tenfold of what the average friend and ally has. So very impressive. He's also got a Purple Heart during his career. And so we're just probably be able to hear. I was going to be right when the ceremony was, but it was very handsome with that pennant, doesn't it? He's smiling from ear to ear. You can see it. But I want to also thank you for serving in the Middle East. I did 30 years in the Air Force, but I've been working the grounds, a totally different situation, but I was proud to help support our ground forces from the air. And, but Paco's a hero and a warrior, and so are you. I congratulate you. Thank you. It's always better to ask. Dogs like bacon sometimes. Thank you. Thanks for letting me do that.
Oh my God.
I'll just punch him.
So, okay, great, thank you. Let's take a 10-minute, 5-minute break. I would say so. Okay, let's take a stretch. I would say so, yeah, okay.
Since we are so timely, actually ahead of schedule, we're just going to take a quick 5-minute stretch for the next congressman to come down. He should be here at 5 o'clock. So if you just want to stretch, the bar is open. We have lots of wonderful beverages and food back there. Just grab something, stretch, and also so you guys know that, oh, whose is this? This is NPC. Oh, this is Szymanski. So you know, at the end of the ceremony tonight, the medalists and the dog procession, we're going to have a dog procession here at the end when we do the blessing of the animals. So you'll get more dogs, less. They're going to go over to the steps of the Capitol and get a group shot. So I don't want anybody leaving after we take pictures up here at the end. You guys can go over to the... Yes, you're going to come up to the photo, up to the front of the room here for photos first, and then everybody will go over to the Capitol and get their picture taken in front of the Capitol all together. And then we're partying at the Holiday Inn National Mall after all of this, so please everybody come on over and join us over there. So we'll just take a quick stretch here, and we'll be right back.
started because they have votes and meetings, so we need to get them in and out. But we want to bring Congressman Bill Rackus up, and particularly to thank him for taking on the champion position for us this year in sponsoring the 2023 House resolution, as we had mentioned earlier. It really takes a lot from their staff and from the member to sponsor this legislation, and we are eternally grateful, and thank you so very much. But we're going to present the certificate to Travis in honor of Kay, and we'll then let him get on his way, and we really appreciate your coming, so thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. It's an honor to be here. I think most of you know I'm a strong supporter of our veterans, our true American heroes, but also our hero dogs. And so I do have sort of script here. I better stick to it, because otherwise we'll be here all day, and you don't want to do that. And it's a privilege to be here to honor this, the achievement of these canine heroes. And I'm sorry I'm a little late. Too often we solely focus on the service and sacrifice of our nation's veterans, and we should, without also recognizing the critical contributions provided by the heroes on the other end of the leash. And they are heroes. They're really incredible. I've been a long-time advocate, as I said, of recognizing contributions of animals, and animals in general, that they have on our lives. They really improve our lives. There's no question. They make us strong. They really do. I have the honor of being the co-chair of the Congressional Caucus for the Humane Bond, a bipartisan group that was created to celebrate and highlight the importance of the vital, often life-saving bond between people and animals. And I have to tell you, I'm partial to dogs. I applaud Animals in War and Peace for putting the spotlight on these heroes to recognize their remarkable achievements, and am the proud sponsor of the soon-to-be reintroduced Animals in War and Peace resolution, which would recognize the contributions peace service animals and their handlers have made in both war and peace. Both are heroes. Both, again, but today it's not about me. It's about honoring these heroes. Today I have the honor to present Kay with the Animals in War and Peace Medal of Bravery. Kay was the real-life version of Captain America, Rambo, and G.I. Joe wrapped up into a high-performing canine hero. I don't want to diminish the achievement and service of his partner and handler, Travis, who is in his own right a true American hero. And Travis, thank you so very much for your service. And unfortunately, I missed your remarks, but they're going to send them to me, because I hear you had everyone in tears, and we appreciate your service. So thank you, your continued service. So I don't want to diminish the achievements and service of his partner and handler, Travis, who is in his own right an American hero, but Kay's service was truly marked by a sense of utter devotion to the mission and his team. With nearly 300 missions completed, it is without question that Kay served our nation with the utmost distinction and without question made our country safer. So I thank him, I thank Kay for his service, and I cannot think of a canine more deserving for this award. So congratulations, Kay, and congratulations, Travis. And listen, again, you guys are amazing people. We look up to you. Thank you very much. And animals. And we look up to them as well. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Congressman Bilirakis. Oh, don't forget your little gift bag at the end there.
Absolutely, thanks so much.
It's really great to have a champion like that helping us with our next resolution. We're just really excited when it drops later this spring, and we'll keep you all posted as to how that's going. It's just very important. So, all righty, well, now we are ready. Oh, thank you for that. Our last medal of the evening goes to Multi-Purpose Canine Szymanski from the U.S. Marine Corps Special Operations Command. Szymanski served 7 years and did 4 tours as part of the MARSOC, and he is with us tonight to receive his award. Here is his incredible story.
My name is Greg Marquez, and this is retired multi-purpose canine Szymanski. Szymanski is a Belgian Mountain Dog. He's currently 12 years old, and we have been together since early 2013. In our time together, we spent about 7 years operational in the Corps Special Operations Command. In that time, we spent time in Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, and Jordan. Szymanski was trained as a multi-purpose canine, meaning that he was trained to find explosives, he was trained for controlled aggression and team protection, and he was also trained to track. On our first deployment, Szymanski and I went to Helmand Province, Afghanistan, with the incredible men of the Special Operations Team 1832. While we were in Afghanistan, Szymanski's primary purpose that we used him for was explosive detection. That was the biggest threat that was facing the team. On our first deployment to Afghanistan, Szymanski performed exceptionally well, but there was one day that really stood out in particular. On February 13, 2014, while conducting a multi-day clearing operation and staying in Afghanistan, our team chief of the Marine Corps Special Operations Team 8232 was greatly wounded after initiating a device explosive device. Upon receiving that information, Szymanski and myself, joined by 2 other team members, hastily drove to the part of injury that had happened and immediately began preparing for his medical evacuation. As that was happening, our team became under heavy direct and indirect fire. As we got to the point of injury, Szymanski furiously exited the vehicle and was immediately ready to work. As team members began treating our wounded team chief, Szymanski furiously braved the dangers that were outside of the vehicle to begin conducting additional explosive detection to the searches. We always assumed that if there was 1 explosive device, there was 2, there was 3, there was 10. From the point of injury, we had to clear a path that the team could travel on to open up into 2 different helicopter landing zones. As this was all happening, we were under heavy direct and indirect fire while the team tried to treat the wounded teammate and also return fire and moving gunfire. Szymanski cleared a pathway with mortars and heavy machine gun fire impacting around him to ensure that there was no further explosives there that was going to injure more team members or possibly take down a helicopter that was coming into land to retrieve our team chief. While all that was happening, Szymanski braved those dangers and continued through the open area to clear those paths to eventually give us 2 safe helicopter landing zones that we could land the helicopter to extract our teammate. Szymanski performed flawlessly under all of the distractions, under all of the danger, and everything else that was going on in the environment under those conditions, and couldn't have asked for a better friend or a more trusted teammate to do it with.
NPC Szymanski led Marine Special Operations teams with unwavering courage in countless dangerous situations. In 2015, Szymanski and Staff Sergeant Marquez's second deployment sent them to Jordan on a training mission. Throughout this mission, Szymanski served as the only U.S. canine in the country and set the standard of canine capabilities for our Jordanian counterparts. In their third deployment to Iraq, this canine team supported the Combined Joint Task Force Inherent Resolve in the battle for Mosul to liberate the city from ISIS control. We are so very proud to award NPC Szymanski with the Animals of War and Peace Medal of Bravery number 16. Congratulations, Szymanski, for your unwavering bravery and service with the Marine Corps Special Operations Command.
will present the medal to Szymanski.
Well, it is an honor to be here today for what is the highlight of my day. Committee hearings, no. It really is. And one of the coolest events that I get to take part in, and giving an award to a constituent of mine, which is also an honor. And so just want to thank y'all for the work that you do and for being here today. A proud supporter of our military, our troops, actually come from a military family, an Air Force family, and spent almost a decade in the Civil Air Patrol, where I ended as a cadet major. I took it maybe a little too seriously. But really excited about honoring man's best friend, best partner, best protector, as we see in NBC Szymanski, and the work that they do. You know, I did a good amount of research on the abilities and what our canine friends do overseas and in the battlefield. And it's incredibly amazing. The bravery, the fact that they are also decision makers in real-time situations, things that maybe folks in these halls can learn from at some points. And it really, you know, the courage that we see, especially from the story of Szymanski, serving 4 tours in 7 years, saving countless amounts of lives, ensuring that our troops have paths cleared and that people are as safe as possible is something that's incredibly honorable. And we can't thank our canine friend without thanking the handler and owner, and really appreciate Brandon Martinez for the work that you do. And obviously working and training up an American hero. And I think it's a beautiful thing that we have created this bond with some of the creatures and dogs that we live with on this world, to a point where we work hand in hand to protect our national security and to protect our most vulnerable people, protect freedom and democracy across the world. It's really a beautiful thing. And so their bravery knows no bounds, and their loyalty and strong work ethic go hand in paw. And so just really honored to be here and present this award to a constituent of mine today. Thank you.
You're looking at
Oh, and here's.
So thank you. I just want to say a quick thank you for everyone for being here. It's truly incredible to be here in this process. Thank you to the Animals of War and Peace for putting this on. You know, I've been thinking about the words to say for a couple weeks now, and as I think about it, I can really come up with thank you of how incredible it is to be a part of this process. Just stand here along other great animals as an advocate of Szymanski, and really just have a platform to tell the story. So I want to say thank you for that opportunity. Thank you to my friends, my family that came out here to be here in support of him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, all of our medalists. Please, can you now give everybody a round of applause? So, as our final event for tonight, we would like to take a moment to honor the canine dog teams and the veterinarians who are here tonight. We have a wonderful representation of dog teams and veterinarians here, and I'd like to call up one of our American Animals and War and Peace board members, Dr. Richard Vargas, to introduce the procession that we'll have of dog teams and veterinarians. And then we'll have them stay up here, and we'll call up the medalists, and we'll have Reverend Kibben give the blessing of the animals. So, Dick?
Thank you, Ron. Takes a tribe. Takes our military working dogs, our law enforcement working dogs, and our veterinarians who do such a wonderful job in maintaining the safety and security of our animals so that they can go out and do the spectacular things that they do. I wish we had the opportunity to welcome and recognize all of our first responder animals and our veterinarians, but here tonight we will welcome some of our superstars and help honor our recipients this evening. First, I'd like to introduce Army veterinarian Major Beth Biles. Representing the United States Coast Guard, ME2 Elena Whitaker and her canine Ultra. Army veterinarian Lieutenant Colonel Amos Peterson. U.S. Capitol Police Officer Matthew Broll and K9 Velas. U.S. Army Veterinary Technician Sergeant Hannah Diaz Colazo. Army Military Working Dog Handler Specialist Michael Cleveland and NWD Buddy. From the United States Navy, MA2 Brendan Miller and NWD Zico. MA3 Aldens Alfred. And Captain Jordan Judice. Ladies and gentlemen, Corporal Rachel Prendergast, United States Army. Ladies and gentlemen, your procession of heroes. Reverend Kibben, please, the blessing of the animals.
If you're near a dog, would you put your hand on it? If you have a dog, can you imagine putting your hand on it? If you have ever been in the presence of heroes that are of 4 or scrawny 2 legs like pigeons, if you would imagine touching them now too, would you pray with me? Gracious God, even as we touch this wonderful fur, these energetic and loyal souls, we ask your blessing upon them. For they have gifted us so much more than we can possibly imagine. But it is only by your grace that you have put in the hearts of these animals a sense of loyalty, of faithfulness, of devotion, and of unconditional love. So we ask then that you would allow your own unconditional love to descend upon them, that they would be wrapped in the arms not just of their owners, not just of those of us who appreciate them, but they would be wrapped in the arms of their Creator, and that they would serve you and this country as you have called them. We pray these things in the strength of your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. Hero procession. Dismissed.
so much. That concludes our medal ceremony for the evening. I'm overwhelmed, totally overwhelmed by the love and the pride and just the amazing heroics that these dogs and these handlers have brought to us tonight. And I'm very grateful for the members of Congress that have shown up and for Reverend Brookhaven, who has been here to help support and make this such a wonderfully supportive and loving ceremony. So God bless you all. Thank you so much. The nomination period for our 2024 candidates is now open. So please check our website at animalsofwarandpeace.org. And if you can think of anybody that might be deserving of either our Distinguished Service Medal or the Medal of Bravery, we'd love to spread the word. And we hope to be back here with 6 other great contenders.
Yes. Photograph on steps of the Capitol.
Yes. So before we conclude tonight, if all of the dog handlers, everybody I want to come up with, all the medalists, I want to come up and have a picture taken. And then we will, the procession animals and the medalists, that they like to go over to the steps of the Capitol to get a group shot, that would absolutely be wonderful. So whatever like to go over there and be part of that, that would be great. But we'll get a group shot of the medalists, and our board members too, would like for them to come up as well and be part of this event. So I want to thank our sponsors one more last time for making this all possible. We wouldn't be here without them. I want to thank my co-host, Mary Lou Livingood and Chris Willingham, for being part of this great ceremony, our advisory board for being here and coordinating, Dr. Richard Vargas and Dr. Jake Huisman, who coordinated the procession. It was just wonderful. And thank you so much to all of the members that served in the procession as well. And that is pretty much it. Again, the bar is open. We are here till 6. Please, I think I need a drink, but please enjoy. And we're going to be at the Holiday Inn National Mall. If anybody would like to come over and join us there, we'll be celebrating these great heroes there as well. So God bless you all for coming out. Thank you so much again for supporting these great heroes. And we hope to see you in 2024. Thank you again.
Same one. Yes. How you doing? Good to see you.
Sorry.